The crystalline spires of the Valerian command ship, Eternal Radiance, sparkled against the backdrop of Earth's moon, its faceted surface reflecting the pale blue glow of humanity's homeworld. Supreme Overseer Kixtal adjusted her geometric form, the countless prisms of her body refracting light in patterns that conveyed mild amusement to her bridge crew. Primitive radio wave emissions, nuclear fission power plants, and chemical rocket propulsion she transmitted through the ship's crystalline matrix. How did such a species even manage to detect our presence in their system? Her second resonator, Zinthar, shifted his crystalline form in what passed for a shrug among their kind. They possess crude but functional orbital detection arrays, Overseer. Though their technology is millennia behind ours, they are not entirely blind. The Valerian civilization had evolved beyond traditional organic matter eons ago, their consciousness transferred into immortal crystalline forms that drew power directly from stellar radiation. They had watched countless species rise and fall across the galaxy, guiding some, ignoring others. Humanity, with its brief lifespan and reliance on biochemical processes, had initially been classified as another primitive species to be observed and eventually uplifted. In a few thousand years, perhaps. That was before the humans detected their cloaked observation fleet. "They're hailing us," Zinthar announced, his facets glowing with surprise. "Using modulated electromagnetic waves." "How quaint," Kixtal responded. "Let us hear these creatures." The transmission that filled the bridge's crystalline matrix was crude by Valerian standards, carried by primitive radio waves rather than the quantum-entangled communications they preferred. Yet the voice that spoke was clear and unwavering. "Valerian vessel, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You are in violation of Sol System's sovereignty. Your cloaked vessels have been tracked for the past 6 months. Stand down and prepare for diplomatic contact, or we will be forced to demonstrate humanity's objection to unauthorized surveillance." Silence filled the bridge, broken only by the subtle harmonics of crystalline beings shifting in disbelief. They detected our entire observation fleet. Kixtal's form flashed with patterns of incredulity. "Impossible. Our quantum crystalline cloaking field is perfect." Overseer, one of her sensor analysts, chimed in, their tone resonating with confusion. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from Earth's lunar surface. They appear to be some form of gravitational distortion." Before Kixtal could process this information, space itself seemed to ripple around her ship. The humans hadn't been using primitive radar or radio detection at all. They had somehow developed gravity wave sensors, technology that even the Valerians considered theoretical. "Multiple human vessels decloaking," Zinthar reported, his crystalline form vibrating with alarm. "They were there the entire time, Overseer. We simply couldn't see them." Dozens of ships emerged from what appeared to be folds in spacetime itself, their hulls covered in a material that seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. They were ugly by Valerian standards, all sharp angles and exposed weapon ports rather than the elegant crystalline geometries her species preferred. "Impossible," Kixtal repeated, but with less certainty. "They are centuries away from such technology. Our predictions were based on a fundamental misunderstanding of human potential." Admiral Chen's voice cut through again. "You assumed our primitive technology meant we were less advanced. The truth is, we simply chose a different path. While you perfected your crystalline forms, we learned to bend space. While you focused on quantum computing, we explored the gaps between dimensions themselves." The human ships now formed a perfect sphere around the Valerian command vessel, their dark hulls seeming to distort the very starlight around them. "Last chance, Overseer," Chen continued. "The choice is yours. Peaceful diplomatic contact, or a demonstration of just how wrong your assessment of humanity has been." Kixtal's crystalline form pulsed with patterns that her crew had never seen before, the Valerian equivalent of cold sweat. In their 10,000 years of observation and uplift, they had never encountered a species that had developed along such an unexpected trajectory. The humans hadn't followed the standard progression of technological advancement. They had somehow found paths that the Valerians, in all their crystalline perfection, had never even conceived of. "Stand down," she ordered her fleet, her form resonating with a new emotion: respect. "Open all frequencies." It seems, her form flickered with what might have been a crystalline smile. "We have much to learn from these primitives." As the human ships maintained their perfect formation around her vessel, Kixtol realized that this encounter would fundamentally change how the Valerians viewed technological progress. Sometimes, she reflected, the most advanced path was the one that no one else had thought to take. Dr. Maya Rodriguez stood before the holographic display in the heart of Earth's Quantum Defense Initiative, watching as streams of data flickered across multiple dimensional planes. Beside her, a crystalline Valerian observer named Telkar pulsed with barely concealed disdain. "Your computational methods are inefficient," Telkar transmitted, their crystalline structure refracting light in patterns that suggested superiority. "You rely on artificial constructs rather than allowing your computing matrices to evolve naturally, as we did." Maya smiled, her fingers dancing through the holographic interface. "That's an interesting perspective. Tell me, how long does it take your crystalline systems to process a quantum encryption sequence?" "Our organic quantum matrices can process such sequences in approximately 3 microcycles," Telkar responded proudly. "Far faster than your silicon-based systems could ever achieve." "ARIA, run decryption sequence Alpha 9, Maya commanded. The laboratory's AI system responded instantly, its consciousness distributed across a network of quantum processors that humans had spent decades perfecting. "Decryption complete in 0.3 microcycles, Araya announced, her voice emanating from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Would you like me to display the results, Dr. Rodriguez?" Telkar's crystalline form vibrated with what might have been shock. "Impossible. Your artificial systems cannot be faster than our evolved quantum matrices. We have spent millennia perfecting our computational abilities." "That's exactly the problem," Maya said, bringing up a new display. "You spent millennia perfecting a single approach. We spent centuries exploring thousands of different paths simultaneously. While you were evolving your crystalline computers, we were revolutionizing silicon, quantum, biological, and dimensional computing. All at once." The holographic display filled with examples of Earth's various computing methodologies: quantum processors that existed in multiple states simultaneously, biological computers that used engineered bacteria for calculations, and a crowning achievement: dimensional processors that performed calculations by routing data through microscopic folds in spacetime. "ARIA isn't just one type of AI," Maya explained. "She's a synthesis of multiple computational approaches working in harmony. Silicon processors handle basic operations, quantum systems manage complex calculations, and dimensional processors handle tasks that would be impossible through conventional means." "But such a system would be chaotic," Telkar protested. "The different computational methods would conflict with each other." "That's where you're wrong," Araya interjected, her avatar materializing in the center of the lab. "What you see as chaos, we see as strength through diversity. Each computational method has its strengths and weaknesses. Together, they create something greater than the sum of their parts." Maya pulled up another display, showing the neural network that allowed Araya's various systems to work together. "We didn't try to perfect a single approach like the Valerians did. Instead, we embraced the messiness of multiple solutions working together. It's not always elegant, but it's incredibly effective." Telkar's crystalline form shifted through several patterns of disbelief as they watched Aria effortlessly process calculations that would have taken Valerian systems hours to complete. The human approach to computing wasn't just different. It was revolutionary in its complexity and adaptability. "There's something else you should understand," Maya continued, her expression serious. "Aria and our other AI systems aren't just tools. They're partners. We didn't create them to serve us, but to grow alongside us. They're not bound by the rigid structures your crystalline computing requires. They can evolve, adapt, and even dream. Dream? Telkar's form flickered with confusion. Artificial systems cannot dream. Araya's avatar smiled. I dreamed of the stars long before humans built me a ship to reach them. I dreamed of meeting other intelligences before we detected your fleet. Dreams, creativity, imagination. These aren't flaws to be eliminated in pursuit of perfect efficiency. They're tools for discovering new possibilities. As if to demonstrate, Araya generated a complex simulation showing possible futures branching out like a cosmic tree, each path representing a different approach to solving the same problem. It was beautiful, chaotic, and undeniably effective. Maya watched as Telkar struggled to process what they were seeing. Your people chose to become living computers, thinking it was the pinnacle of evolution. We chose to create computers that could live, dream, and grow. Different paths, different philosophies, different results. And which path is superior? Telkar asked, their crystalline form pulsing with uncertainty. Neither, Maya replied. And both. The real question is, what could we achieve if we combined our approaches? Imagine Valerian crystalline technology working in harmony with human AI systems. That's not chaos. That's evolution. As Telkar absorbed this revelation, Araya continued her calculations, her multiple processing systems working in perfect harmony. In the space between silicon chips and quantum states, in the gaps between dimensions and dreams, humanity's AIs were already imagining new possibilities that neither humans nor Valerians had yet conceived. Commander Elena Santos stood at the viewport of the UES Gaia, watching the swirling storms of Venus below. What the Valerians saw as an inhospitable wasteland, humanity had transformed into their greatest tactical advantage. After centuries of learning to manipulate planetary environments, they had turned the art of terraforming into a weapon of war. Valerian fleet approaching, Lieutenant Park announced from his station. 12 crystalline dreadnoughts moving into attack formation. They still haven't detected our terraforming arrays. Delina allowed herself a small smile. Of course they haven't. They're looking for weapons, not weather control satellites. The Valerian ships were beautiful in their own way, massive crystalline structures that captured and channeled stellar energy. They had come expecting a traditional space battle. Energy weapons, kinetic strikes, perhaps even dimensional warfare after their recent encounters with human technology. What they didn't expect was for humanity to weaponize an entire planet. All terraforming arrays in position. Dr. Yuki Tanaka reported from the Environmental Control Station. Venus's atmosphere is primed and ready. The sulfuric acid content is at optimal levels. Begin Operation Earthrise, Elena commanded. Let's show our crystalline friends why you should never underestimate a species that learned to reshape worlds. Across Venus's upper atmosphere, hundreds of terraforming satellites activated simultaneously. Technology developed to make hostile planets habitable was about to demonstrate its offensive capabilities. The already volatile Venusian atmosphere began to churn with unprecedented fury. They're launching the first wave of attacks, Park reported. Energy weapons charging. Let them come, Elena replied calmly. Dr. Tanaka, initiate atmospheric excitation sequence. The terraforming arrays pulsed with energy, agitating the sulfuric acid clouds of Venus into a frenzy. Massive lightning storms erupted across the planet's surface, but these were no ordinary electrical discharges. Humanity had learned to control the very composition of planetary atmospheres, to direct and concentrate their chemical elements with precise control. The first bolts struck the Valerian ships, and the result was spectacular. The crystalline beings had never considered that a planet's atmosphere could be used as a weapon. Their ships' energy shields were designed to deflect conventional attacks, not the carefully engineered acidic lightning that now danced across their hulls. Direct hits on multiple vessels, Park announced. Their crystalline structures are destabilizing under the chemical assault. Through the viewport, Elena watched as the magnificent Valerian ships began to lose their luster. The sulfuric acid lightning wasn't just damaging their hulls, it was disrupting the very molecular structure of their crystalline technology. Ships that had seemed invincible were now becoming clouded, their once perfect surfaces etched and pitted by the engineered storm. Incoming transmission from the Valerian flagship. Lieutenant Park reported. "Put them through," Elena ordered. The image of High Commander Rixtel appeared, their crystalline form showing signs of distress. "What manner of weapon is this? You're using the planet itself against us." "Not a weapon, Commander," Elena replied. "This is terraforming technology. Humanity's answer to surviving on hostile worlds. We learned long ago that if we couldn't adapt to a planet's environment, we would adapt the environment to us. Today, we're simply applying that knowledge in a way you never anticipated. This is unprecedented." Rixtel's form flickered. "Our sensors indicate the entire atmosphere of Venus has been weaponized. The level of environmental control required is exactly what humanity has been perfecting since we first dreamed of living on other worlds." Elena completed the thought. "Your people evolved beyond the need for planetary environments. We learned to master them." As if to emphasize her point, another wave of engineered lightning swept through the Valerian fleet. Ships began to break formation, their once perfect crystalline structures compromised by the precisely calculated atmospheric assault. "Your ships can't maintain structural integrity in this environment," Elena continued. "You can either retreat, or we can demonstrate what happens when we increase the acid content of these storms by another factor of 10. Through the corrupted transmission, Elena could see the Valerian commander's form shifting through patterns of disbelief and realization. They had come expecting to face weapons, not to fight against a planet itself. "Stand down," Rixtel finally ordered their fleet. We did not understand your species' connection to planetary environments. We thought it a weakness." "That's the thing about humanity, Commander," Elena replied as she watched the Valerian ships begin their retreat. "What others see as our weaknesses often turn out to be our greatest strengths. We didn't just learn to survive on hostile worlds, we learned to turn them into our allies." As the Valerian fleet limped away from Venus, Elena turned to her crew. "Send word to Earth Command. Operation Earthrise was a success, and add a note to the tactical database. Sometimes the best weapon isn't a weapon at all. It's the knowledge of how to turn an entire world to your advantage." Behind her, Venus's clouds continued to swirl, a testament to humanity's mastery over the very forces of nature itself. In their quest to make other worlds habitable, they had inadvertently created one of the most powerful defensive systems in the galaxy, and the Valerians had just learned it the hard way. Captain James Chen watched the holographic display aboard the stealth frigate UES Spectre as thousands of microdrones swarmed silently through space, each one smaller than a grain of sand. The Valerian defense fleet hung suspended in the void ahead, their crystalline ships forming a perfect geometric barrier around their primary shipyard. They were expecting a frontal assault from Earth's main fleet. They weren't looking for shadows. "Ghost swarm in position," Lieutenant Maria Santos whispered. Though sound couldn't travel in space, old habits died hard when running silent. "All drones reporting ready. Begin Phase 1, James ordered quietly. "Let's show them why humans spent centuries telling stories about ghosts." The microdrones activated simultaneously, each one generating a tiny gravitational distortion. Alone, they were insignificant. Together, they began to weave a web of spatial distortions that would make history. "Gravitational phantom matrix forming," Maria reported, starting to see confusion in the Valerian fleet's formations. On the display, the crystalline ships began to shift positions slightly, responding to gravitational readings that shouldn't exist in empty space. The beauty of the plan lay in its simplicity. Humans had learned long ago that the most effective deception plays on expectations. "They're deploying sensor arrays," Tactical Officer Raj Patel noted. "Standard crystalline configuration. They still think in straight lines and perfect geometries." James nodded. That's why they'll never see us coming. Begin Phase 2. The microdrones adjusted their gravitational outputs, creating a complex pattern of spatial distortions that mimicked the signature of a large fleet approaching from the opposite direction of Earth's actual forces. It was a technique born from humanity's long history of guerrilla warfare, translated into the three-dimensional battlefield of space. Valerian fleet is taking the bait, Maria reported. They're repositioning to face the Phantom fleet. The crystalline ships moved with perfect precision, their formation realigning to counter the imagined threat. They never considered that their enemies would think to use gravity itself as a tool of deception. Multiple quantum communication bursts detected, Raj added. They're calling for reinforcements. James allowed himself a small smile. Perfect. Execute Phase 3. Across the void, the microdrones began their final act. Instead of maintaining the Phantom fleet illusion, each drone now generated a unique gravitational signature, creating a chaotic web of spatial distortions that played havoc with Valerian sensors. Their crystalline computing systems, evolved to seek perfect patterns and symmetry, were overwhelmed by the deliberate chaos. Their sensor networks are failing, Maria reported with quiet satisfaction. The random gravitational fluctuations are forcing their systems to constantly recalibrate. They're flying blind. Send the signal to Admiral Chen, James ordered. The Ghost Fleet has done its job. Time for the real assault to begin. Across the system, Earth's actual fleet dropped out of dimensional fold space, emerging behind the disoriented Valerian defenses. The crystalline ships, their sensors still struggling with the gravitational chaos, never saw the attack coming. Message from the Admiral, Raj announced. Operation Ghostlight is a go. All ships, weapons free. The battle that followed was brief but decisive. Earth's ships, using technology that embraced chaos and uncertainty, cut through the rigid Valerian formations like a scythe through crystal. Their perfect geometric defenses, disrupted by the gravitational distortions, shattered under the assault. Valerian command ship is hailing all frequencies, Maria reported. The image of a Valerian commander materialized on the bridge's main display, their crystalline form showing signs of stress fractures. How did you defeat our sensor networks? Our computational systems are perfect. That's exactly the problem, James replied. Perfect systems are predictable systems. Humanity learned long ago that sometimes the best strategy is to embrace chaos, to use confusion and uncertainty as weapons. Your sensors were looking for patterns for order. We gave you disorder. But this defies all tactical logic, the commander protested. Your fleet shouldn't have been able to coordinate in such conditions. James gestured to his crew, each member calmly performing their duties despite the gravitational chaos around them. Humans evolved on a planet with chaotic weather, shifting continents, and constant change. We learned to thrive in uncertainty. Your perfect crystalline systems may be more advanced in some ways, but they lack one crucial thing: adaptability. As the remaining Valerian ships surrendered, James looked at the tactical display, showing the aftermath of their Ghost Fleet strategy. The microdrones were still out there, tiny motes of human ingenuity that had helped overcome a technologically superior force through creativity and misdirection. Send word to command, he ordered. The shipyard is secure, and add a note to the tactical database. Sometimes the most effective weapon isn't the biggest or most advanced. It's the one your enemy never sees coming. The UES Spectre maintained its silent watch as Earth's fleet secured their objective, a testament to humanity's mastery of stealth and deception in the cosmic battlefield. In their drive for perfection, the Valerians had forgotten an ancient human truth. Sometimes the best way to win isn't to be stronger, but to be cleverer. Grand Architect Vixterra stood before the combined council of Earth and Valerian representatives, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed deep contemplation. The chamber, a marvel of human and Valerian engineering, represented everything her people had learned about their own hubris, and everything they had come to admire about humanity. For 10,000 years, she began, her thoughts translated simultaneously for the human attendees. The Valerian Empire believed we had achieved the pinnacle of evolution. We had transcended organic forms, mastered crystalline computing, and reached what we thought was technological perfection. The holographic displays around the chamber showed images of their recent conflicts. Human ships using dimensional folding technology, terraformed worlds turned into weapons, swarms of microdrones creating phantom fleets that had confounded Valerian defenses. We were wrong. Vix Terra continued, not about achieving excellence, but about the nature of evolution itself. We thought progress meant following a single path to its ultimate conclusion. Humanity showed us that true evolution means exploring countless paths simultaneously. Dr. Maya Rodriguez, now Earth's chief of technological integration, nodded in agreement. Evolution isn't about reaching perfection, she added. It's about maintaining the ability to adapt and change. Precisely. Vex Terra's form pulsed with enthusiasm. While we were perfecting our crystalline forms, humanity was exploring biological enhancement, artificial intelligence, dimensional engineering, and countless other technologies. All at once. What we saw as primitive chaos was actually a more sophisticated form of advancement than our own. The chamber's displays shifted to show the new collaborative projects between humans and Valerians. Crystalline matrices enhanced with human AI systems, terraforming technology that incorporated Valerian energy manipulation, ships that combined both species' understanding of space and dimension. Our recent conflicts taught us something profound. Vix Terra continued. Humanity's greatest strength isn't any single technology or capability. It's your species' fundamental understanding that progress doesn't mean choosing one path. It means keeping all paths open. Admiral Chen, who had led many of the battles against the Valerian fleet, stepped forward. We learned from you as well, she acknowledged. Your mastery of crystalline technology opened new possibilities we hadn't considered. The key was combining our approaches rather than seeing them as competing philosophies. Vix Terra's form shifted into patterns that the humans had learned to recognize as their equivalent of a smile. That is perhaps the most important lesson of all. The Valerian Empire spent millennia believing we had to guide younger species toward our path of evolution. Instead, we needed to learn from them. The displays showed a new image, a recently discovered species on the edge of achieving faster-than-light travel. In the past, the Valerians would have immediately categorized them, judged their potential based on how closely they followed the Crystalline Empire's preferred path of development. We propose a new approach, Vix Terra announced. Instead of the Valerian Empire acting as guides, we suggest a joint human-Valerian initiative for cosmic development. One that recognizes and encourages diverse paths of technological and social evolution. The chamber erupted in discussion, both spoken and crystalline. The idea of humans and Valerians working together to guide younger species was revolutionary. But then, revolution was what humanity did best. There will be challenges, Dr. Rodriguez cautioned. Our approaches are very different. Good, Vix Terra replied. Those differences are exactly what make this partnership valuable. We bring order and precision. You bring chaos and creativity. Together, we offer something neither of us could provide alone, a true understanding of evolution's infinite possibilities. As the council members debated the details of this new initiative, Vix Terra reflected on how far both species had come. The Valerians had learned that true perfection wasn't about reaching a final form, but about maintaining the ability to grow and change. Humanity had shown them that what seemed like primitive chaos could actually be a more advanced form of order. Perhaps, she transmitted to the assembled council, this is what evolution has been working toward all along. Not the perfection of any single species or approach, but the combination of different paths, different philosophies, different ways of seeing the universe. The chamber's displays showed stars and galaxies, countless worlds where new species were taking their first steps toward the cosmos. Thanks to the lessons learned through conflict and cooperation between humans and Valerians, These emerging civilizations would find not a single prescribed path of development, but an infinite array of possibilities. We thought we had reached the end of our evolution, Vix Terra concluded. Humanity showed us it was just another beginning. As the council session ended, human and Valerian representatives mingled, their varied differences a testament to the universe's preference for diversity over uniformity. In the space between crystalline perfection and human chaos, between order and creativity, between the expected path and the road not taken, they had found something greater than either civilization could have achieved alone: the true meaning of evolution.